On this solemn day of September 11th, it's essential to reflect on how we share the lessons of this pivotal event with younger generations. So today we're exploring how to teach children about 9/11 in a thoughtful and impactful way.
We spoke with Master Gunnery Sergeant JROTC Barry Bartasevich, I told him I'd get it right, and Warrant Officer John Singleton, who joined us to provide expert insights on these crucial topics. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. We appreciate it, and thank you for your service. It is a monumental day for many, obviously, for so many reasons. Let's talk about 9/11 and talking about what we're doing as far as getting the message out to the kids and the students. What key messages or values should be emphasized when you're teaching children about 9/11?
First off, I don't think we necessarily should talk about the actions, the tragedy. I think we need to talk about the resilience, also the sense of community that ensued the day after. That's when we became a community. We thrived as one nation, and it brought the whole entire nation together as one.
Great points. Yeah. And in what ways can teaching about 9/11 contribute to a child's understanding of national and global history?
Well, the ways that we try to let them know some of the historical things that took place is even through our program. Now that these students and people that come through our high school programs, they weren't here, they weren't born. So teaching them the history, World War history, other types of war history, teaching them about the events that occurred on that day, whether it be programs that we have speakers come in, they may have had family members that were affected that day. They may have been there themselves.
Right.
So just allowing them to come in and talk about what they experienced on that day and how it affected them, how it affected their families, would allow our students as well as others to understand what they went through.
And you bring up a good point. It's almost a whole generation that's after the fact here for 9/11. So let's expand on that bit about the misconceptions about 9/11 that educators and parents should be aware of when they're teaching the kids.
I think that, since I've been in the military and I did tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that everyone thinks we're attacked by a cultural, but we weren't. We were attacked by a few radicals. And so, people today, we sit back and think about everything, but when talking to people when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, they were normal people. They were just like Americans, and they were very peaceful, caring, and comforting. So, and they were going to work and go to work, go to school and everything just like we do. So it wasn't an entire nation that came after us. It was a few radicals. And that was the big misconception. Because you don't want to go thinking that the entire nation of Iraq or Afghanistan attacked us.
It's something very important to keep in mind.
Yes, yeah, well said. And how can we involve children in activities or projects that help them process and reflect on the lessons learned from 9/11?
Well, I'm a pro-education type of person, and I believe in, research, finding out what can you gain through talking to others and finding out what they know about certain things. That allows you to grow, learning one new thing that you didn't know, such as 9/11. You weren't born then. So how did it affect you? What do you think some of the reasons was behind those things that occurred? And as they talk to people that, again, was there, speakers that may have had family members that was impacted, they learned some things that occurred. And that's going to give them that knowledge on what took place on that day.
And it's interesting what he said, because we all lived that day, right? We all knew what we were doing. But this generation, like you said, now it's in books, like they're learning the event, but we all lived. and we'll never forget.
You mentioned the people that were personally affected by 9/11. How can we support the children and families that were actually affected by 9/11 personally?
I think we just need to be there for them, okay? Be the trusted person that we are, that want to talk to you. Because you need to practice the empathy for them, and just know that we're going to be there for them, and then we understand. And that's the biggest thing we can get to.
Great points and great lessons that now we have to carry on to the children
Always.
and the future generations. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and speaking to us this afternoon.
Anytime.
And thanks for your service.
Yep. You're welcome.